Hi guys, it's me Mark. Welcome back to my channel with this time a deep analysis on the Ausria Grand Prix in the Red Bull Ring with F1 2014 setup. Because in the league we had a lot of complaint about the system, and I wanted to clear out. So if the car really matters in terms of performance or not. And we are gonna analyze the qualifying corner by corner. A few things before we started. I did analyze by a few years. Yeah. The first thing I analyze is the braking point. Basically distance where the driver starts braking and what speed the driver starts braking. The middle point is, I'm gonna type third one, where is it? What is the speed on the middle where the driver starts accelerating, and what is the speed in the exit of the corner, and I'm gonna speak about the delta time corner by corner. As you can see, I'm driving the Ferrari, Harry is driving the McLaren, and the Finn is driving the Russia, I guess. It's the Mercia. As you can see at starting speed and the lap, the Finn has a lower by around 4 km per hour, and I and Harry basically have the same. The setups, I don't know the Finn setups, I'm gonna leave it in the comments if I have enough motivation. My setup is a really low downforce, basically I guess a 1-2, and Henry is a preset 5, which was a default +1 to the corner, so yeah. Let's dive into. Yeah, the video doesn't have sound, so okay, here we are. I did previously, so I'm just gonna read it. So Harry starts braking at 350 km per hour at 110 meters probably, because it's hard to see it. I did 320 km per hour, which was a little bit faster. I brake a little later, around 100 meters. And the Finn is braking, the speed has 312 km per hour. It's braking around 100 meters. The next thing is basically turning. When the driver starts turn the wheel into the corner, what distance? I forgot to do it, but I'm gonna slow down the video. About one. Nope. Yes. 1/3. Yes. Okay. So, yep. As you can see in the feed, basically the middle corner is just the middle of the corner. There's not much to say about. The Finn turning around 60 meters. I turn around 50. And Henry in 45 meters. But this is not matter. This what matter is the middle speed. Let's go forward. The middle speed Henry was 153 kilometers per hour. Mine is 145, which was pretty slow. And the Finn has 157. He has the highest. and basically the end of the corner is the line for the pit, and the out of the pit is a white line which is also pits. So basically at this point Henry has 190 kilometers per hour. As we say, if we hit it, he hit it. My speed is also 190, and the Finn has 188. Sorry, I read other one. And basically, me and Harry is at the same time, but the Finn is actually 2/10 ahead both of me. See? But it is time to see the first sector times. Basically, this is when the lowdown for the Ferrari speed kicks in. And by the time we hit the sector point, the first sector timing points, I was 5/10 ahead of, around 5/10 with the Finn, and 1/10 ahead of Henry. But let's see turn 2 at this point. So the Finn braking at 80 meters with the starting speed at 290 kilometers an hour. I brake 100 meters at 320. Sorry, I did turn one again. 310 kilometers an hour and 100 meter board, probably a little bit earlier. Okay, and Harry is only reached 302 kilometers an hour and braking at 90 meters. So I reached the highest, but I brake the earliest. Basically, three of us turn basically at the same time and at 25 meters probably. As you can see, it was the same. And Henry drives the curve the most. The Finn lap I basically not able to see, and I barely able to see the curves on the inside. And basically the exit speed is the DRS line, when DRS can be activated. And in the middle, Henry has 80, mine is 76, and the Finn is also 80, so I am the slowest in the middle of the corners. But actually the Finn and Henry have the same exit speed, 153 kilometers an hour, and mine is 142. But if we see basically the sector times, me and Finn is basically equal, and Henry is behind around 600 of the second. Now let's go into turn 3 and see what happens. We both activate the DRS probably at the same time. Yeah, and the lap, so Henry and Finn is doing the lap around the first half of the qualifying, and I doing at the very last moment. Okay, we reached the breaking point. So I get set up by arrived at the braking 321 kilometers an hour. Yes. Basically brake at the same time on the 100-meter board. Henry arrives 340 kilometers an hour. Brake around 120 meters. And the Finn arrives 311, the lowest. And brakes at exact 100 meters. The turn is basically the same. Both around the 50-meter board, as you can see. But Harry turns the latest. As you can see, the Finn is rolling, and both of them, and me and Henry basically a little bit acceleration. And the exit point is basically the end of the curves, the outside curve, in my testing. And the middle speed is basically middle. Mine is 123 kilometers an hour, Henry 125, the Finn is also 125. So, as I see my times, I basically slower in the middle of the corners always. This is why I'm losing a lot of times, I guess. But the exit speed, Henry is 142, the best. Me with 140 kilometers an hour, and the Finn with 132 kilometers an hour. And basically this time I was the fastest, Henry was behind around 1600 of the second, and the Finn is 2/10 of the second. So around the exit speed I was faster. Let's dive into turn 4. It's hard to tell the breaking point because there is no board, they're gonna tell you what. So I'm basically using this, the last red bar on the top, as the braking reference. And as you can see in the clip, I was visually ahead of both of the drivers. Let's get down. The middle of the corner is basically the first few curves around where my cars and Ferrari is basically the middle, and the end is basically the, as usual, at the end of the curve. As you can see, the Finn is significantly behind me and Henry. But let's get dive into. At the braking point, Henry arrives 270 kilometers an hour. I arrive 274, 4 kilometers higher, and Finn arrives 267 kilometers an hour, which is again the lowest. Basically we brake at the same time around the red bar, we turn in. The middle speed has some exactly. Henry was the highest with 200 kilometers an hour. Me with 190 kilometers an hour, and the Finn is last with 171 kilometers an hour. The exit speed, Harry lost 6 kilometers an hour, 194. I basically the same with 189, and the Finn gained 190 kilometers an hour. Basically, Henry was faster than me in this corner because he got basically the same time as me. But the Finn is 3300 of the second slower than me. So we are arriving at turn 5 and 6. I'm basically gonna do a same thing, but it is corner because the 6th corner is basically full throttle. As you can see, the replay of Ivan. Actually, I overtake him, so I don't help me too much. Yeah, the ending of the 6th turn 6 is basically the left hand side curve once it gets started. As you can see, me and Henry basically reach, and Finn is basically a lot behind me. So let's dive into turn 5 and 6. So I was the fastest and the braking point with 253 kilometers an hour. Henry at Finn is tied with 248 kilometers. We both brake at the same time, but it's hard to tell. The turn is basically the same. And the middle speed, Henry was doing 227 kilometers. I was basically, I guess, braking more, 205 kilometers an hour. And Finn is 195 kilometers an hour. This is a huge speed difference. Oh. I forgot one thing. Don't worry, I'm gonna see. So, yeah, you know what? Basically, middle of the turn 6 was 226 kilometers an hour for Henry, 230 for me, so I was very faster because I full throttle. And the Finn is 231 kilometers. And exit speed out turn 6, Henry was 244, mine was 252, a lot higher, and the Finn is 247 kilometers. Basically, as usual, I was leading. Henry was around 1/10 of the second behind me, and the Finn is 6/10. So basically, the first sector Finn was fine, and in the second sector he loses a lot of time. I mean a lot of time. Luckily there is 2 corners to finish the circuit. Oh, 20. As you can see, the Finn is basically the only one who is playing with a few rich mix, lean mix, changing to get a better corner. As you can see in the replay, Finn was a lot behind both of us. I was really riding the curves and I was driving around, and the Finn is just touching the curve, not riding it. As you can see in the Finn, the south of the curve is the exit speed of turn 7? Yes, turn 7. And as you can see, Harry was losing a lot of time in turn 6 because the Finn is catching up by a lot. And turn 8 I forgot to see myself. And the Finn is going really wide, while me and Harry from basically just touching the curb on the left wheel. And the exit of turn 8 is the DRS zone. So let's dive into the last 2 corners. At turn 7, Henry is arriving 296 kilometers an hour. I arriving with 308 kilometers an hour, and the Finn is arriving 290. As you can see, basically all the braking, the Finn is just arriving at the lowest speed. I don't know if it's a setup or the car just being just slow. That's why I'm gonna set up, because this difference gonna be me and Henry the plus 10 by the exit, and I have a lot less downforce, so yes, maybe. Henry was braking the earliest at 75 meter. No, wait, Finn is braking at 80. Henry 75 and me 60 meters. The Finn is turning in around 60 meters. I turned 75, so I am turning and then braking at this. And Henry is turning at 50 meters. The middle of the corner, I guess the right curve around the middle, this is why I'm recording speed. Henry was 204. The curve riding is an R riding curve. I don't know, Henry lost a lot of time. 204, mine was 229, the Finn is 202. So I guess Henry into turn 7 lost a lot of time and speed, almost 20 kilometers an hour compared to Finn. And the exit speed, Henry was 225, mine was 241, and the Finn is 232. As you can see, around turn 6, the Finn and Henry distance was around 0.5 seconds. By the time in turn 7 exit, Henry was a half second behind me, and the Finn was 0.8 of the second behind me, and probably 0.3 behind Henry. At the last corner, Henry is arriving 245 kilometers an hour, I arriving at 233 kilometers an hour, and the Finn is arriving 252 kilometers an hour. It's really hard, but yeah, I break the latest by about 5 and 10 meters. The turn was basically the same. And the middle was actually Finn the fastest with 196 kilometers an hour. I was 181 and Henry was 189. But as you can see, the Finn was run wide of the last corner, so when the exit speed is going to be worse. With Henry was 224, mine at 220, and the Finn is 222. By the time at the last corner, Henry was behind me around 53,000 of the seconds, and Finn was behind 76 hundredths of the second. Yeah, they are also active, and the finish line, the final speed, Henry was 284, mine was 287, and the Finn was 276. Last time we checked the sectors. So in the first sector, Henry was 80.089, me doing 15.939, basically almost 80, and the Finn was doing 84, 80.477. So in the second sector, sector 2, I was a 48.2. Henry was also 48.2, but the fin is 49.0. So the fin is actually lost of time around the second sector. I guess I can check it. Basically the second sector, except turn 6. It was then. And because Henry was make a mistake on the final sector, he was doing a 110.0, I was doing a 19.4, and the fin was doing a 110.4. So, what we can learn about it? I can learn to drive a little bit more speed into the corner to get around the speed more. Yeah, fin is just basically slow in the straight, so I guess it's Marussia, I guess. And if Harry didn't make a mistake on the last corner, I guess he would finish in the better position. But yeah. But if I have to suggest about the cars, what I was thinking, Tier 4 is around a half a second slower, I guess, but it depends on the setup, what setup the Finn have. If he has a high speed, then gonna be more, the top speed. If he has high downforce, and it is probably 5 tenths per lap, I guess, in Austin. In the Red Bull Ring. Other tracks may be different, but I will test it if I have the motivation. And Harry and me, you see, a minute, was around 6 tenths. But if you didn't count her mistake, I was around 3 tenths. It may be a setup because her used the preset and I use a custom setup. Yep. But this was my deep analysis. Sorry for the English. This is my second language. Have a nice day. I am Mark. Goodbye.